Okay, so my name is Megan Goulet. I am the Principal Marketing Manager at Monster Worldwide, and we are so grateful to have our panelists joining us today. I am very proud to introduce Monster's own Sean Robinson. He is our Senior Director of Product. We also have Corrine Emery, our Vice President of the Foundry by Monster. We're very pleased to have our two video experts and partners. We have Tamara Grigg, who is the Head of Marketing at VideoMyJob, and Jeremy Tolan, who is the Sales Manager at SparkHire. So let's jump right in. As we all know, as recently as a few weeks ago, we were in one of the tightest and most competitive labor markets in history. And some on this call might be found facing hiring freezes. You know, others are hiring essential workers as quickly as possible. So you're seeing this broad spectrum of what's going on in this industry. But regardless of the hiring status that your organization is currently facing, you know, you should be using this time to focus, like look inward and update your processes, ramp up your virtual recruitment strategies. We understand many of you have already been doing this, but now we really want to focus on a few things that you should be doing right now. So Sean, I'm going to kick it over to you. What do you think that's one thing this really should be top of mind for companies?
Oof, wow, just one?
Just one to start, we'll get some more.
So I would say that in terms of how they're engaging, it's really important that they support the mobile device, you know, and make sure, you know, with roughly 50% or higher of the folks who are accessing websites are doing it from their handheld devices. And so you want to make sure that first, put your best foot forward on that mobile web experience.
And you know, people right now, they have so much time to browse because of social confinement. You know, yes, being mobile is, as Sean was saying, super important because they have time. They will read about you. So make sure that you're accessible to them. It's super important.
You're on mute.
I'm on mute. There we go. Great. Well, that was bound to happen eventually, right? You know, as we're all incorporating, you know, this new way of video and everything, you know, talking about mobile optimization, let's go a little bit more into the video aspect, considering, you know, there's people like me who are still trying to ramp up on it. So, you know, Jeremy, let's start with you. Like, how do you feel like video is going to play a role in virtual recruitment moving forward, now that it seems to be more of a everyday part of our lives, especially with meetings and webinars just like this?
Right, just like you're saying, I think video is playing a huge part in virtual recruitment right now, and as we plan for the future too, I think it's becoming super challenging to meet with candidates in person right now, and using things like SparkHire for live video interviews is a really great way to facilitate that part of your process. And as we plan for the future, we just need to be set up to do remote everything, whether it's interviewing, hiring, onboarding, and training. And that's just one reason why we're super excited to be partnered with Monster, where Monster customers with an active econ subscription actually have access to claim an offer for 3 free months of SparkHire until May 31st. And it's just really important that, especially right now, we're doing things like this. Video interviews are going to be so crucial that organizations are empowered with the tools they need to get them through the times. But even organizations that are on hiring freezes right now too, I think they're taking a deeper dive and a closer look at their current hiring process and assessing what it should look like in the future. What kind of improvements can they make now? And as they're talking to members of our team, they're realizing that one-way video interviews are also going to be a huge part of their process going forward, where for a one-way interview, you can actually set up questions in advance where candidates record video responses on their own before a deadline. And that way a hiring team can review the responses at their own convenience and make better decisions a lot faster about which candidates should make it to the next stage of the process. So I think it's becoming extremely relevant right now to use video as part of your hiring process, but also as you plan for the future, people are realizing process improvements they can make.
And
yeah, definitely. It's not just about video in your recruitment process, though. Given that none of us are spending face-to-face time with each other at the moment, working out where you can insert video just to bring some more humans back into all of your communications. So asynchronous video for project updates, where can you in your in all of your processes put video in to make sure that that the people in your organization are getting out there. So emails can be enhanced with video. There's no page on your career site that can't be made more interesting and more communicative without an additional video. And being at home shouldn't stop anyone from making corporate, professional videos. All you need is a smartphone and an app like Monster Studios, or there's loads of free apps out there that can help you make professional video. Yeah, now's the time to do it while everyone's got a little bit of spare time.
I love what Tamara is saying. You know, you have to demystify videos. It's not something that should be big or complex or scary. It's just a matter of getting used to see yourself, or getting used to delegate power. As long as you give parameters to the people you work with, this is how you can talk to people about our company. You're good to go. You shouldn't be trying to make it perfect. You shouldn't be trying to come up with, it's not a Super Bowl TV ad, you know, it's just giving information to people, to your future workforce, to your current employees. It's about making sure that your brand is known. So when you look at your hiring process right now, okay, first you want to get known. Then you want to transmit a message. Then you want to retain the people that you've attracted with the same message that is relevant to them. And that is changing daily. You know, just look at the situation we are right now. We've never thought it would be like that. And you want to communicate about it, how we're keeping our people safe, what we're doing with our clients, what are we doing for projects. And that is made available through videos. As long as you know your brand, and it's not that complicated, everybody has a story, then go for it. Use your cell phone, don't be shy. And that's one of the questions I would like to ask to all attendees on the call. You know, just answer in the chat. I would love to know if I would tell you, okay, guys, as of tomorrow in your business, you need to use videos to talk to people on social media, to talk to your employees internally. What is the first thing you want to tell me? What are you scared of? You know what is like, oh my God, what do I need to do to get there? I want to know. I'm super curious. So if you have a second, I would love to take the chat and get me some answers.
Right. So
clean my office. I love this one.
Do you know, I've been experimenting with homemade green screens. So with a sheet behind me, for those of you who have a home space that you're not, you don't necessarily want to show the world, a homemade green screen is really achievable with a sheet and a couple of pins. But that's a great way I think a lot of people are concerned about being professional when they're filming videos from home. And tools like VideoMyJob, or any video application that allows you to apply a layer of branding over your content and incorporate things like B-roll footage, corporate B-roll footage, that's a great way to maintain a consistent brand look and feel while still having your people at home creating video content.
Well, if I can add to that, I think using the people is really important. So if I can hone in on that, authenticity, the big A word, is really important. And you want to use the people that you have in your organization. Why? Because I'm totally stealing from Green. Because excuse me, because they can tell the story about why they're there, what gets them going every day to come in virtually to do the work, and they keep coming back day in, day out, right? And so that passion, you can't replicate that. You want to channel it and deliver it through video. That's
so true. And you know, I'm having fun reading the comments. Thank you guys for participating. Yeah. This is amazing. There's a lot of things about appearance. By the way, after you've done a few, you know you're a good angle, you know? So trust me, you're gonna get there. So that's not a concern. Just like your business has a story, you have your own vibe, and that's what's selling, like Sean was saying. Also, in terms of, I saw a nice question. What about those individuals, even if it's only 10%, that do not have access to devices that support video? So people to consume these videos. Well, to be honest, it's just like online jobs or anything, you know, reading about a career website, it's the same thing. If you don't have access to go online and to consume that, it's very hard for these people because they are missing on amazing content. Well, the good part is that you can also create analog content when it's relevant. So if you know that your audience, the people you want to talk to, are not, ready to receive that type of things, you create other medium. If they're still consuming paper, go for that. But we are more than 95% online. So you are creating for the mass, trust me, when you're building videos. And when you get used to it, you can do some for yourself first, take your cell phone, film yourself. Oh my God, I look terrible. I need to do it like this instead. The light is better this way. And you'll see it. Or just delegate. There's someone internally that you're like, this person, how he speaks, how he moves, I think that it's going to make a difference. Use that person, probably that they're at ease. And give them, okay, these are our parameters. This is who we are as a brand. If you want to talk about us, that's our tone. It's super important, the tone, how you talk during these videos. Are you professional? Are you more conservative? Are you more laid back but consultative? Give just these parameters and people will play with that. Videos are alive. They're allowing you to, go faster instead of having content that is plastered for months and months and months that get old. Well, now you have something that you can create on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, whatever you want.
And if I can jump in as well, the numbers are compelling and they prove the point. So based on some research that our folks have done, 95% of the content you receive a video, you retain, versus 10% of the information that you're reading, you retain. So the numbers are overwhelmingly positive for video.
We actually have a few questions in, if you guys don't mind answering kind of mid dialogue here. There's one that we got, and actually we received one on a webinar that we had 2 days ago, and they're very similar. It's this, this fear of being a talking head, right? And especially when it comes to whether or not you're trying to represent your brand in the beginning with, a job ad, or you're talking about your company, or even during the job interview process. How do you make sure that that body language is coming across from you, that enthusiasm, as well as how can you really read the candidate? Because so much of that's that connection, right? Especially as you're striving to find that right fit. So how do you kind of combat that when you're still this much up?
That's a good question. And when sometimes we go to clients and we shoot videos with them, they will ask us the same questions, and we say, if like me, I'm someone that moves. You meet me face to face, you would see I'm always moving my hands. That's how I am. And before we used to say, be sure that you don't move too much during videos, and it's distracting. Now, accept that you're natural. You lean forward when you're interested, lean forward when you're interested. And that's the type of things. And it's something that you can also establish from the get-go. And you can say, this is a video interview. By the way, be natural. I expect you to have a conversation with me, and show it yourself. So they will see that there is movement, and you will have a much closer conversation if you do that. So that's one way to do it, but also take it into consideration. It's a video, it's a new medium. People will be a bit less at ease. Be ready to probe it, to have some probing questions to make sure that you get to know that person, and you'll have amazing results.
Right.
There was another question concerned about the talking head aspect, and that can not be very interesting for the viewer. So I'd like to address that with tools like Monster Studios, which is free, I think, for most Monster advertisers. You can incorporate what we call B-roll, so overlays of, they could be images from your campus, from your retail stores, from your warehouse. You can incorporate secondary video footage or image overlays, and those sort of things. One, they can sort of help you. Occasionally, you might make funny facial expressions, so you can bring in some additional footage to put over a bit of a blooper. And there's also a teleprompter in the app. So if being nervous about saying the right thing or staying on message is one of the challenges that you face, especially at the beginning of your video journey, having a teleprompter that allows you to read your cue lines and stay on track is massive for video amateurs. It's a huge barrier to getting started. So you take advantage of that in Monster Studios and have a play around. Even if you're not creating content for public consumption, just practice with a tool like that to help you get comfortable in front of the camera.
Absolutely. And we have another question coming, about technology to use. Well, for sure, we're going to talk about, Monster Studios and technology that we're pushing, because we love this. We've been testing so many out there and they're easy to use. But depending how you want to track, and Jeremy, you can take this one after as well. There are two things you want to do. There's the attraction and there's the retention. In between, you have the interview process. In the attraction phase, this is where you are, talking about your company, who you are. Why should I, me as a job seeker, take a risk and join your company today? So right now I'm either employed, so you're asking me to change what I'm doing and go for you, or I'm not employed, maybe because of COVID-19 and I'm scared and I don't want to go. So why again should I move and go to you? So this attraction phase, cell phone, shoot video, post. End of the story. That's not more complicated than that. Interview, I'm going to turn to Jeremy, and then the retention phase with Tamara, because all of that comes together.
Right, and I think you could use that type of attraction phase as part of your video interviewing process too. Something that comes to mind is things that you can use on SparkHire are intro and outro videos. So when a candidate's about to start the video interview, it could be really useful to use an intro video where you're talking about what it's like to work at the company and what the role is like, and get them really excited about things that other employees, current employees, are excited about too. And it makes them feel more comfortable, and kind of like you guys were saying too, setting the expectations to be natural. Your video, we're not expecting it to be perfect when you record your responses or connect with us live. Just like in a live conversation, everything that you say and do isn't going to be perfect. Just be your authentic, natural self, and use things like outro videos too to thank them for actually participating in the video interview with you. Maybe outline what next steps are going to be like, but just keep setting expectations with them and letting them know that it should be natural. It doesn't have to be a perfect video that they're submitting to you guys.
And obviously employee retention, having your employees involved in your employer brand content. So even though they're creating content that's up there at the top of your funnel for attraction, the pride and enthusiasm, if you're getting real people in your team to create and tell their stories, the chances of that being amplified are so much greater by the people in your business, not just by your official channels. And a referral from an individual is so much more valuable than official company channel content. And video is also a fantastic way to get your leaders delivering their messages with empathy and vulnerability. The way to keep your staff, especially in times of crisis, is to be open and honest, and getting people on video talking about their challenges, helping the team adapt to their new way of work, giving people updates. It's a great way to model behaviors for the team. So if you have new things, for example, new processes in place that are dealing with COVID, quick video showing people what the appropriate distance is, or how to take a transaction at the counter under the new standards. All of these things can be, it's a 5-minute process to create a video and send it out. You can SMS video. It's much more, it's mobile optimized, basically. It's a natural mobile type of content.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And it's what I'm hearing is that so much of your employer branding also needs to be communicated through video, right? And it used to be that it could be on one platform or 2 platforms, and really it's now you should be fast tracking to go across as many platforms as possible. Corinne, can you actually start with that? And then I want to hear a little bit more from Jeremy and Tamara about how, when you go from an employer branding text and where you can review it and read it and make sure everybody's saying the same thing, to then going over to a verbal communication of that, where things can get a little bit more on the wild west there, and kind of reining that in.
That's a great question, Megan. Employer branding is your DNA. So it's your promise of what you will give to your employees in return of their time, loyalty, and productivity. So what will you give them? And underneath that, you will find your tone, you will find your alignment with the corporate mission and vision, all of that. So when anybody is talking about who you are as an employer, the message should be the same. The essence should be the same. Now, this message has to be broadcasted through all the different platforms, on your social properties, on your career website, when you do campus recruitment, when you go and you prepare for fairs. It's the same thing. And if I would be asking your employees, they should be talking to me about the same thing. It shouldn't be a message coming from corp. It should be an alignment between the day-to-day lives of your employees and what you are aspiring as a company. So your brand needs to be everywhere, because job seekers usually will check 16 different
Channels.
Places.
I'm searching for my words. See, that's video, guys. Yeah, so they will look at 16 different destinations before making a decision. So they might be going, you know, on review site, on job boards, everywhere before making their decision. So you need to be there to influence their perception with the right message. So this is how you make sure that your brand is working for you 24/7.
Can I add one thing before we transition to that? It's also, the brand's really important in terms of making sure you're appealing to folks and also repelling folks. You know, and people often always think about the positive. Oh, you know, we want to get the right people. Absolutely. But you also want to repel the right people as well, the wrong people, by, you know, self-selection. And what that does is it creates great efficiency in the hiring process, right? And so that way you're saving everyone time. You know, and the employer. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that's such a good point. Like, you really want to attract the right people, maybe repel the people that aren't going to be a great fit for your company. And you have to find creative ways to do that, where you have to be posting on different websites where you post your jobs, where you, on your own website, you should include videos of what it looks like to work there. And I think what's being echoed through each panelist is that it's most effective when you see actual current employees talking about what it's like to work there. And it's most engaging, and you trust those types of voices, and you could either see yourself doing a day in the life there or not. And it's almost a selection tool in itself, and is really going to connect you with the best people and really help you stand out to those candidates too.
Yeah.
A very concrete question I saw on the, oh, sorry, Tamara. Quickly, I saw a question that was very concrete. It's, how long should my videos be? You know, what should I be talking about? And it's something that is so relevant, because it's like, okay, if I want to get going, what do I do? A good video between 15 seconds and a minute, okay? Usually, if you're recording something, if you have something compelling to talk about, this minute will pass by fast. Usually 15 seconds to 30 seconds, they're the average. People will scroll, see what, look what they need, and you can pass on a lot of information in 30 seconds, trust me. But then a minute maximum. After that, it becomes a bit heavy. And then what can you talk about? For sure, who you are. Make your employees talk about just what you were saying, guys. There is something about understanding who are your top employees. For example, let's say, but for real, Megan, top employee, we love you. We want to repeat these hires all over. So I need to know who's Megan, why did she join, why is she staying? And then when I understand this, I can put that in context with my brand and repeat that. So I will have messages, if they attract to Megan, they will attract to people similar to her, because I want to clone these hires. So this is why working on your brand is the foundation to get everything going.
That's a great point. Now, we've got a great conversation going, so I'm sorry to cut it off right now, but I do want to get to a few questions that we have, because I know we got about 5 minutes left here. One of them was, we're talking so much about branding and that messaging. Do you think with everything going on, should companies be thinking about a message for how their brand is talking about or approaching coronavirus now versus how their brand is positioned in the future, especially as you have companies that are facing furloughs, making sure that they're still positioned as a company that is there to protect their employees in the long haul, like they're in it for them. So, you know, should they be planning on multiple iterations of messaging?
I mean, I think this is a great one for Karine, but if your employer brand has any untruth in it, then under pressure is the time when those cracks are going to show. So that's perhaps not very helpful for those of you who do have cracks in your EVP. But Karim, perhaps you could share how, like you were saying before, the message, the essence of the message is the same, even if you are slightly iterating to adapt as the situation evolves. Your core mission and values and what shines through in all of your communications should remain the same.
Yes, and by the way, every brand has cracks, so it's all good. It's okay. And you should talk about what you're doing right now. Yes, it should evolve. And again, this is why the flexibility of videos is so amazing. And hey guys, today we're going under furlough, as you were saying. So we are on a reduced work week. We're going to be there for our customers. We're here for our employees. Stay tuned. We're going to let you know if we have delays. But just keeping people informed will gain you also sympathy, because they will be able to build trust, with your brand. Oh, this is what they're going through. I understand. Oh, they're still taking care of the employees. Interesting. Oh, they had to do layoff. Okay, interesting. Okay, I'm going to just stay aware of what's going on. COVID is over. Oh, you know what? We're back in business. We're rehiring, but we are first rehiring our previous employees. Oh, right, they did layoffs, but they're good people. They're a good employer. You're connecting the dots for them through this story, and you handle the narrative, which is so important, because otherwise people will talk and they will create your reputation. You should be the one in charge of it.
Yeah, and I bet, Jeremy, you have to do a lot of work in terms of prepping people to be sharing that message when you can't fully control it yourself. How do you kind of approach that with, making sure when people are doing video interviews that they're still communicating that EVP and those key points that they need to be done?
Right. I think it's just, you need to keep your messaging consistent. You have to be in tight communication with people, consistency, and you just need to be open and make sure everyone's still connecting and finding ways to communicate with each other, even though there is the physical distance. Something that we do internally at our company, our CEO does weekly video updates where they send a video message to everyone in the company just about what's happening in each department, so everyone still feels like they're on the same page, and people who maybe aren't interacting as much now that there's the physical distance can get caught up on what's happening throughout the company. And so it's a really good way to relay messages and keep people feeling that closeness and together, and just being aware of what's happening around the company internally too.
Love that idea. That's great. I think we have time for about one more question. I know we have a lot more that have come in, so we will do our best to group them. If there's anything that we can approach in the follow-up email, we will. If there's anything that requires more of a tailored or custom response, stay tuned for an email from us over the next few days to get that over. But the one final one is that they have a lot of different touch points when it comes to their employer branding. They want to know if they should be doing separate social pages for careers, or can they use their main company's social pages? I think it's how much can they manage at this point in time, and what should they be focusing on?
Well, if you are wondering, let's say your HR department doesn't have much presence on social media right now. It depends how much followers and fans you currently have on social properties. So let's say you're on Facebook, you already have, I don't know, even 1,000 followers can be hard to reach sometimes. Well, jump on that bandwagon and combine both pages. If you're going to start from scratch, this is where you can think about your strategy. Will we have enough content to keep people interested? If you are a company that is highly focused on product marketing, maybe they deserve to have their own page. And if you're able to produce good content for HR, it would be interesting to have your own page as well, because you can give it the flavor you want. Don't forget that your corporate brand is not your employer brand. You cannot promise the same thing to your employees and your customers. They are not buying the same thing. One is buying your products, one is buying your job. So it's not the same. So this is why when you have your own space, it gives you this freedom to have your tone related to jobs, and you can post tons of videos that are related to what you want to do, the jobs that you're publishing, your aspiration, what's going on today and in the future.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you so much for all of our panelists. That's all the time that we have today. Note to self, I should probably make this an hour next time. It was such a great conversation, and there's a lot of questions here that we need to get to. But thank you again for attending our Fast Tracking Your Virtual Recruitment Strategy webinar. Tomorrow, we did receive a request for it. We will be sending out the recording. Just a reminder, we'll be going through, we went through these 3 things about making sure that everything's mobilely optimized, going all in video, and the importance of employer branding across all platforms. We'll try to gather some additional information and resources, since we did have a lot of questions about making sure how could they make their videos shine through the best. So I'm sure working with the panelists here, we'll have a lot of great content to share with all of you there. And as always, feel free to reach out to Monster to help with any of your hiring needs. We're here for you, now and also in the future. So thank you, everyone. Stay healthy, stay well. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining
Bye.
us. Bye.